Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today I have a special guest, Graham King. Graham is the founder and owner of Urban Athletic Club with 4 locations now in the district in Washington, D.C. He's also known as the King of Gyms in D.C. Or maybe that's what I'm calling him just also for his last name. But welcome to the show, Graham. Thank you for joining us.
Great. Thanks so much, Otto, for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So as I mentioned offline, I like to start off first just to get the audience as far as how you were, your childhood, where you grew up, where were you born? Are you local from around here, or?
Yeah, I'm a local boy.
Where were you born? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I was born in Annapolis,
Okay.
grew up in Howard County in Columbia, Maryland. I was there from 8th grade until, early 20s, I guess. So
In Columbia?
Yeah.
Yeah, Columbia, it's been a lot of growth the past maybe 10, 20 years.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It was under 100,000 when I was there, and we had many stoplights along Route 29. And over the years, all the stoplights went away. It grew up. It went from 8. The high schools now, I think they're on their 13th high school in Howard County. So it's really grown a lot.
Where'd you go to high school there?
I went to Oakland Mills High School.
Okay, yeah.
Up your feet, Oakland Mills can't be beat. Still have that cheer in my head from whatever, so many years ago.
Oh, that's good. So as a kid growing up in Columbia, were you into athletics or were you into sports, or what type of kid were you?
That's a great question. So growing up in the suburbs, it was a lot of, backyard, every sport. So whatever the season was, you're in that sport. From soccer, baseball, basketball, riding bikes everywhere. And it's the suburbs, right? So you can ride your bike all over the place. A little bit of fishing, all those things that kind of go into it that you do as a kid. So, the way the houses were set up, you'd have basically some person's house here, some person's house there, and a big field in the middle, and everyone would play together. You'd play, it sounds nostalgic, but you'd play till the streetlights came on, or you heard your parents yelling for you, and then you would run home. That was sort of, how I grew up, and that's what I knew. So, that's my background.
Did you have a favorite one growing up as far as your top sport or your top thing to do?
I love playing basketball. I sort of just, I played soccer growing up like almost every kid in Columbia, but I just loved basketball. That was my sport. So.
That's how I was too. I grew up in DC, so I was in the DC Starter Soccer League for the longest time, and I did play mostly soccer because most of my friends in middle school and elementary school were in soccer. But my passion was basketball, though. I really truly enjoyed basketball. So after high school, what'd you do after that?
So I went to UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, after high school. And I majored in partying, and it's this sort of the background was I was always I was smart, but I didn't have any good habits. I had no good habits coming out of high school on how to study and how to be prepared. In college, I had freshman year. UMBC is a commuter school for the most part, so I was still living at home and commuting to school.
Sure.
So at that point, I had a job. I had a girlfriend, I had school, and a social life. And I was doing all these things, and some things the school part didn't take off. Everything else was going okay. So didn't do too well. They kicked me out of school after my first year, and I had to go to community college, Howard Community College.
Due to the grades?
Due to my grades, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that you should drop a class instead of failing it. So my GPA was so low.
Okay.
Had I dropped the classes, I would have just had a drop and not an F. So,
back then, Graham, were you already selected a major or not yet?
No, I hadn't yet. I didn't know what I was going to do at freshman year. I was only, I was a young freshman. I was 17 going into into college. So
okay.
And yet I wasn't seasoned, if you will.
Yeah.
So when I went to community college, that's when I really got the habits. I kind of, and this is it sounds bad, and it's just how I felt. So I'm going to just be honest with how I felt. But at the time, going back to Howard Community College, I was, people who had graduated high school a year after me were also in that school. And some of, again, I'm telling you how I felt then, and I might be maybe more PC now, but I felt then some of the not so bright people in my high school were at Howard Community College. And I felt, well, I'm looked at the same level they are. They're not that smart. And I think I find myself, I think I'm pretty smart. So, but we're in the same class. So therefore we were looked at as equals. And my ego got in the way and said, well, I've got to get out of here. This is ridiculous. So I got a 3.9 at Howard Community College, got out of that school, went back to UMBC.
Oh, so you put some effort there. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely got study habits, and I cut down on my extracurriculars. I wasn't going out as much. I wasn't working as much. I was really focused on school.
Okay.
That sort of got me back into getting good habits.
So then you went back to UMBC?
Back to UMBC. I was there, and then after my junior year, I dropped out to start my first business. So it was
what was that business?
It was a moving business.
Ah, okay.
So a good friend of mine and I, we helped somebody move, and we got paid some money, and we thought, well, we can do this. We're big, strong guys. Let's go ahead and do it. So for 2 years, we ran a moving business. In Columbia, Maryland, we moved people from Miami to Connecticut to the West Coast. We were all over the place, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about business. At 20 years old, I had my first business, and it was great. I learned a lot.
I'm curious, how did your parents take it when in your junior year, you're like, I'm done with school, I'm going to try this now?
They were fine, because after I failed out of school my freshman year, my mom told me that I had to pay for school myself. So that sort of changed the game a little bit. Like, it was my money and my time, and I think that that made it more like I owned this, if you will.
Sure.
So yeah, that was it. So I did that for 2 years. I kind of ran that business for a couple of years, and it was fun. And then ended up getting after that, a couple odd jobs here and there before I went back to finish my degree later.
What'd you major in?
I majored in business administration.
Okay, business.
At University of Maryland University College, which is now, they've rebranded it something else, but the University of Maryland system still.
Yeah. Okay. So you finished off there with business, and then you were just working odd jobs here and there when you finished?
Yeah. So after, between my moving business and starting school, I had some sales jobs here and there doing telecom. I had moved to DC in the Adams Morgan neighborhood. And at one point I think I was 26, and all my friends all my roommates and my girlfriend at the time, and they all had their degrees. They were all making their careers go. And I was like, well, I'm 26. I have no college degree. I have no job to speak of that's really great. What am I going to do with myself? And that's when I decided to go back to school. And I got a job at the Washington Sports Clubs in DuPont Circle. So
during that time, Graham, were you into fitness? You working the odd jobs here and there, working out yourself, or?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So during that time, from after high school, basically, like, I kind of was introduced into the gym at freshman year of college. Okay. A couple guys in my fraternity, they all went to the gym, and I started working out with them. A good friend of mine who was a state champion sprinter, I worked out with him during the summers, and he taught me a lot about coaching and training and how to get better, and all, like, just doing some really fun things that people really weren't doing in the gym. It wasn't just bench press and biceps. It was sprinting and jumping on the box, jumping off of boxes, all kind of different exercises. And that's where I think the love started of athletics, if you will, of training at the gym, if you will.
Okay. So what made you decide to actually become a trainer?
Well, so I was 26. I had no college degree. I had no job to speak of that was really great. So I went to Washington Sports Clubs, where I was a member.
Oh, okay.
I said, hey, I'll do anything. I need a job so I can go to school. And the only opening they said, well, look, we've seen you train. You know what you're doing. Why don't you become a trainer? And I said, okay. So they had an in-house certification. I did that. And it was really funny before I was doing telecommunication sales, and I wasn't very good at telecommunication sales, but that little bit of sales experience I had for a couple of years was 10 times what trainers had at that point. Most trainers thought that people should just come to them and they would just train.
Yeah.
Or I had the sales mentality, like, you've got to call people, you're going to have to bring them in, you have to meet them, you have to tell them what the benefits are, and then they'll buy something. And I found that, like, even though I was here on the sales level for doing like telecommunications, I was here in the sales level of doing fitness. So it's fun. It's having the right, the right tool in the right place was good.
Sure. So then you gathered some clients with the training aspects of things?
Yeah, within 3 months, I was the busiest trainer at the gym.
Wow, that was quick. 3 months.
Yeah, I was just, I was training people, and as much as I would train people. I would give people free sessions. And the way it sort of worked out there was, if you weren't training somebody, you had to clean equipment. You had to mop the mills, you had to mop the floor, and I can't stand cleaning, right? So I would just give away free sessions, because my thought was, if you want a trainer, would you rather be with a trainer that is training somebody, or the trainer who is mopping the treadmill?
True.
So,
yeah.
Perception was a huge part of that.
Yes.
So I just kept getting busier and busier, and had some really good clients, and just build it from there. So that's what I did.
Plus, with the free training, I'm sure it worked out great for your sales and marketing, as far as just to reel them in. Even the first, it worked both ways. Keeps you busy, and the perception that you just mentioned, but at the same time, it's just introduction, and maybe get them hooked, or maybe with another session.
Yeah. And I was able to try new things out with people. I was able to do, like I was doing, again, this is a health club in 2000, right? So it's 2000, this is when I started. People were still just doing Cybex machines and pin-loaded machines and bench press and deadlift. And I was doing fun stuff. I was doing speed ladder drills. I was doing all the stuff that I had known I was doing. It was more fun for the clients. They weren't just having somebody write down, okay, great job. It was interactive.
Yeah, they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So how long were you there at that sports club for?
So I was there about 3 years.
Okay.
2003, maybe 4, but yeah, around that time.
And then after that, you decided to go off on your own?
Yeah. So, I started doing some outdoor boot camps under the brand of Balance Integrated Training Concepts. It was Balance ITC. A friend of mine, another trainer at the gym, Derek Crowley, and I started this outdoor boot camp. This was 2003. I mean, now there's outdoor boot camps everywhere.
Yeah.
2003, going to a park with weights and with med balls and all that was a new thing. So we grew that for about a year or so. Brought in another business partner. And actually at the same time started a food company. We started a food company called Fit Meal that was really the precursor to all these things that are out there now. It was basically we would have the orders on Thursday, buy the food on Friday, cook on Saturday, deliver on Sunday. And so we did that too. So we were doing a food business and a fitness business at the same time.
Are you still involved with the food business?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of people in that space now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is 2003. So we were ahead of our time, if you will.
That's a great idea. How did you come up with that? Did you see it somewhere? You're like, let's try this back then?
Dara had the idea.
Okay.
And he was like, let's do this. And it was great because we already had a client base of people who were training with us. And we take that same client base and said, hey, eat this food. And it worked out just great.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So then you were doing that outdoor boot camp for about a year, you said, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then I found just one day I heard about this basketball court at a church that was there. No one was using it. And so with one of my fellow trainers, Beth Antel, she and I walked from the Washington Sports Clubs across the street 2 blocks to this church. It was the Our Lady Queen of the Americas Church. And we asked the priest, hey, is there a basketball court here? And he said yes. And he opened the door he walked us around back to where the gym was and opened the door. And there was this full-length high school basketball court. with bleachers above it that was just dark and not being used. It was being used, I think, at night at that time for a couple basketball rentals, but it was dark and dungy and old. And as a basketball player, I felt like I walked into heaven, like,
Yeah.
amazing. So we started off renting that. That was like 2003, 2004, renting that court. And so we took out the bleachers. At this point, we brought in another business partner. And we took out the bleachers. We changed the floor. We started doing our training. All of that sort of took off from that point. So, yeah.
And you were there for a few years in that basketball facility?
We were there about 9 years, 10 years.
Oh, you were there for some time.
Yeah, until about 2012.
By then, did you already start, Graham, with the Urban Athletic Club branding and name, or it was a different? Okay.
This was all under Balanced Gym. So this it was Balanced Integrated Training Concepts. We rebranded into Balanced Gym, and we had that space in Calorama for 9 years. Out of there was we rented space to one of the first CrossFit gyms in DC, CrossFit DC. We had trainers who would rent space from us. I created what is still going, well, not now, but with COVID, but a basketball league, elite men's league and an elite co-ed league, where we would have players from all over the DMV play. We had Baby Shaq, who's a street ball legend. He would play in the league. We had people who played at Georgetown, people who played at Mason. Like, the league was really good. It was funny when I got there. When I started the league, and gosh, I don't even know what year that was, 2005 maybe. Okay. I was able to play power forward and center. That was I could play. By the time like about 2010, 2011 came, I could maybe come off the bench as a guard. We had guys who were. There was one time I remember I drove the lane. I went up for this layup. I was at the rim, putting the ball in, and this guy who played at Carolina just swatted my shot 20 feet. He was like 6'11", Matt Leskowski. He swatted my shot, and I was like, I'm not playing too much of this center and power forward anymore. So.
How tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, so you have a good height. Okay. Wow. So that whole basketball league was until, you said, 2010?
It's still going on now.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
When we closed the gym, I basically transferred that league over to a friend of mine.
Okay.
And said, "Hey, here you go. You run it."
So from that on, what year was Urban Athletic Club founded?
2013. So at 2013, I sold my interest in Balanced Gym to another partner, and I opened up Urban Athletic Club. Okay.
So during that 3-year period, you were going still at the gym and still doing the gym thing, right?
Yeah. From 2003 until 2013, I was at Balanced Gym, and we had expanded into Thomas Circle. We bought a failing health club at Thomas Circle. We took over ownership of a place called Soma Fit, which is now Balanced Gym Glover Park. And we were negotiating the deal for the Fairmont.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What made you decide to sort of go off on your own now and form Urban Athletic Club?
My business partner, who we brought on, and Darren and I brought on, we just didn't see eye to eye on where we wanted to go, butted heads, and it was like either fight or flight, right? Either take this thing and fight it and go through that whole part, or just get a check and call it a day. So, where I was in my life at that point, I was just married, having a kid on the way. I was like, let's take the money, call it a day, do something different. So, yeah. I'm actually
glad you bring that up, Graham, because it sounds like you've had different partners throughout your whole career, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How has that experience been with all the different partners, or what can you say to the audience, the pros and cons, or what to look out for as far as going into business with someone else? Because with a partnership, I almost see it as almost like a marriage too.
Yeah. Yep. It is. I mean, it is totally a marriage in that regard. I think the biggest thing is that nobody gets into a partnership with bad intentions.
Of course. It doesn't start off that way.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is you have to spend some time writing down how are you going to do things. one thing we should have done, we didn't do, we should have had a buy-sell agreement. It should have been like, okay, well, if you offer me this, I can offer you that. That's how.
Sure.
That's super important. Who owns the intellectual rights? Who owns the creativity part? There's a lot of different things. And who's going to get paid? Are you going to be someone who gets paid as as what you do, or are you going to be more of someone who gets paid for the profits later? What's your involvement from a day-to-day basis? All those things are really important that you don't really talk about when you're starting the business, because you're so enthusiastic about what you want to do. You just feel like, well, once we make money, we'll worry about that part. But you should worry about it before you make money, because it gets ugly once the money gets in there, because people get greedy.
I agree. And then they also I don't want to get an attorney involved and then the money, but I think long-term is definitely worth it. It's worth paying those attorney fees to get some legal document drawn up.
Or even just have some sort of mentor who can help guide you. You can have if you don't want to spend the money, at least write down what's important. And what happens in certain situations. Okay, well, I want to sell, what happens? I want to buy you out, what happens? I want to expand to 10 locations, how do we do that? I want to franchise this thing, how do we do this? All these things, just write them down and just come with an agreement, and then just initial it and move on. And then as you get more money, then have an attorney who can, more formalize that process.
Yeah. So then in 2013, that's when the first urban athletic club was established. Mm-hmm. And the first one was in Shaw, or?
No, first one was in Glover Park.
Oh, okay.
A client of mine, his business bought the Savoy Suites Hotel, and they had a basement conference room. And he knew I was looking for a space to open a gym. So he said, look, I'll convert this space into a gym. I'll build it out. You supply the equipment. And that's what we did. So
this gym was in a hotel, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And this gym, was it just strictly yours, or were also guests of the hotel able to use it?
Yeah, good question. So the way we worked it was the hotel guests, sort of, and the way that sort of my rent is the hotel guests could use it for free.
Okay.
You could get discounts on training, and I would bring in my own clients and do classes, personal training, etc.
Sure.
And I would do a revenue split based on what I made.
Interesting. But it was your equipment. You put up the equipment.
I put up the equipment, and they built it out.
And I understand some of their locations are like that too. You're going into hotels, which is an interesting concept and model compared to just, the gyms either being in an industrial warehouse area or retail.
Yeah, and sort of the selling point was, if you just put a gym in there and said, hey, we have a fitness center, there's no give a crap factor.
Sure.
People cares about the gym. But if it's my business and I'm there, I'm going to care about it. I'm going to make sure it's clean, make sure towels are out, make sure that whatever equipment is broken gets fixed, make a certain vibe about the place. And then on top of that, the people that are locals that come in, they're working out, and then they're going upstairs to the restaurant and getting food. So they're spending more money inside the hotel. It becomes now a destination for locals. And then for the hotel guests, when they come to the gym, there's a vibe. You feel like you walk into an exciting gym. It's not
just hip and cool, because people are coming with athletic gear, and you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a big part of that you're not just putting on your headphones and staring and watching CNN. You walk in and there's people pushing sleds and people jumping rope and people lifting weights and barbells, and you feel like, I'm back at a gym. I feel like I'm in my home gym. So
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Out of your 4 locations, how many are in a similar type of space, meaning that they're in a hotel type of facility?
So I opened one at the Line Hotel.
Okay.
In Adams Morgan. That's our second hotel location. And the nice thing about that space, that was built out to be a gym. So it's got high ceilings. It's more spaced out. Where we kind of retrofitted a gym into the Glover Park location. The Line was meant to be a gym, and so it's a really sweet setup. It has 45-foot long turf floor, squat cage right in the middle, dumbbells and barbells all around, and it's really neat there.
Well, and all the gyms with showers and everything, restrooms within the gym, or?
The Line do not have a shower.
Okay.
That was a second, what we call a day 2 thing. One day, the bathrooms are big enough to put showers in, but It's a matter of just making sure that we can put them in at some point. And because we're a local space there, a local gym, most of the people that work out there just go home and shower.
Go home. Okay.
A little bit different. But then, so Glover Park let us open up Shaw. So Shaw is sort of our flagship, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the newest one is Watergate, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We're taking over what was sort of the residential fitness facility inside the complex. It's kind of a separate space. So if you've been to the Watergate's like it's buildings all around. In the middle, big field and park, and underneath that is where the gym is. So it's got natural light. It's a separate location. It's really neat space.
Oh, that must look cool. How big is this space?
It's about 3,000 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Graham, how are you finding these locations as far as with the hotel? Do you have the contacts and you just reach out to me like, hey?
Yeah. The same business partner that got me into Glover Park Hotel, he has connections at the Line, has connections.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, he's like, well, I can put you in here. I know that we can make some money out of it. And he's a business guy. He knows, like, look, if I can offload some of the expenses, because I'll take on some of the expenses. So he offloads expenses, I bring in some revenue, and everyone wins.
So it works out. It's a great partnership there.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Yeah. So you're mentioning turf and everything. So if you can share with the audience, please, as far as all the different everything you can do basically in your gym is not your typical. Here's your barbell or here's your bench press. I think there's more to that with your facilities, correct?
Yeah. So we tend to be we envision our space as like a strength and conditioning gym, not a health club, right? So what that means is we're going to have sleds, we're going to have bumper plates, we're going to have tires to flip, squat racks and pull-up bars and ropes and all those things you would need to get a really good workout. We're not going to have any machines for the most part. I mean, at the Watergate now, we have some machines, and we'll change that out over some time. But the main thing is we want to make sure people are moving like in a functional way, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know also at one point you were involved with CrossFit. Are you still or?
No, we dropped our affiliate.
Okay.
During the sort of the protest of the early spring.
Was there a reason for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of twofold. It was one was we weren't really using our CrossFit name anyway. Like we called CrossFit Shaw in our Shaw location, but we called it Urban Athletic Club.
Okay.
We were branding it as such. We really weren't branding it so much as a CrossFit gym. We kind of used that. We were going to do more with it, but we just found that doing our own thing was better. And then when it came to renew our affiliate, it was $3,000, and we had shut down the gym because of the COVID and the quarantine, so revenues really weren't coming in, and we really weren't using the name. And then the whole the owner of CrossFit, Greg Glassman, just made some comments that were something that we didn't want to associate ourselves with.
Yeah.
So to write somebody a check for $3,000 that has 2 private airplanes and emailed us more times about paying the fee than they did about, hey, how's your business doing? And then adding on top of that sort of a tone-deaf approach or comments about Black Lives Matters and police brutality, we just couldn't see ourselves aligning with someone like that.
Sure,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
You mentioned that fee. That's an annual fee?
Annual fee, yeah.
Okay, I see. Now, in regard to COVID, obviously it affected your business, affected many business, unfortunately. How have you dealt with that, or are you doing things now differently?
We're doing a lot differently, yeah. So first, once COVID hit, we pivoted quickly to online. We were doing classes as fast as we could to get people doing stuff online. We had classes, eventually got to about 20 classes a week.
Oh, wow.
We were doing live.
Live, okay.
Classes. We would record some of those. We'd love to we always want to be better at recording the videos, but just it's sometimes it's like recording a a workout where I'm telling one person to do something, but if you rewatch it, it really doesn't have the same context. So we did a live stuff there, and then we also rented out our equipment to members.
Okay.
So members came by and picked up dumbbells and kettlebells and barbells and plates, and we rented those things out. So to the members that still have stuff, you got to bring it back if you're watching the video. But yeah, and then that was what we did when we couldn't do anything in the gym. We would just do everything online. That's what we did. That was our thing.
Now you've opened since then, right?
We've opened since then, and now at Shaw we've got seven 10-foot by 10-foot tents lined up. I built 8 Olympic lifting platforms outside the gym that we leave out. So, because people were putting yoga mats down, but yoga mats are only so thin.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in a 3/4 inch plywood, 8mm rubber on top of that. So now we have a 4-foot by 8-foot platform for people to lift weights on, do burpees on, etc. And so we're doing, if we have a class of 12 people, 10 might be outside and 2 might be inside.
Okay. Yeah. So the majority is done outdoors then?
Yep.
Okay. And is that for all the locations, or how are you doing with the others?
That is just in Shaw.
Okay.
Adams, Morgan, we're doing indoor now. We just opened that space up. Glover, we're doing virtual twice a week and outdoor once a week. And Watergate, we're not doing any classes just yet.
Okay. Are you planning to keep some of the online classes, or has your model changed after COVID? Or?
Yeah, we were doing 20 a week, and now we're doing 3 a week. So yeah, we've cut back substantially. Most members have come back to the gym.
Okay, so they want to be there.
Yeah, they want to be in the space. And we also do some virtual programming. So we'll actually have a at-home program. People can just download, follow it. It's free. They can just go to our site and get that. So there's like a at-home workout they can follow on their own. So they have, the options are like in-person, live, virtual, and then programming.
Okay, that's nice. I'm curious, in the beginning when you started the whole online classes, how was the attendance, and did that change?
Yeah, it was great. It would go from, some days it was just one person, so one-on-one session, up to we'd have 12, 15 people in a class.
Okay.
So, yeah. And that was just helpful to keep people communicating and keeping the community going. And we also did some happy hours with that too. So we had happy hour meetups a couple times just to keep the community going. Because we knew once we reopened, we had to make sure we embrace everybody as best we could.
I'm glad you mentioned community. You've done such an amazing job in building a community with your gyms. How do you do that? Is it the happy hour you mentioned that you do sometimes in the evenings, or what other things do you do?
We just, I don't know. I just think we just follow with our people a lot. We chat to people a lot. We talk to them before, and that's the whole part of we talk about what is Urban Athletic Club. And we really want to focus on when you're part of a club, you're part of a team, and we want to make sure we just keep that part of it going, where we're just always, checking in on people, talking about whatever sports, politics, culture before and after a class. And those things are all just really important for us to make sure we're doing all those things, and to whether it's, again, like you mentioned, a happy hour with people, which isn't happening as frequently.
Sure.
But just a place where people can gather and make something out of the experience. It's not just fitness; it's a club.
Out of all the locations, are you typically visiting all of them, or where are you mostly based out of, you personally?
Pre-COVID, I would go to all 4 of them. Okay. Sometimes every day. Sometimes I would start my day at one, and then just throughout the day meander around. Now I spend my day mostly at Shaw and Adams Morgan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Graham, what would you say motivates you or drives you to push forward?
I love growing things. I love starting new projects and starting new things and making things happen. That's, I'm definitely a starter. I like to start new projects and get things going. I'm not always the best finisher. I like to, I'll have lots of things I start, but I won't always finish everything. So I'm always looking for that closer. I'm looking for that person who can complement and close those things that I've started.
Do you have a partner here at Urban Athletic Club, or is it?
Yeah, we have a partner. I'm a partner at the one in Shaw.
In Shaw, that location.
And we have some investors in that place as well.
Okay. Out of your whole career and journey, you still have a long way to go. What would you say what's the first thing that comes to mind that you're most proud of?
I'm most proud of the people that I've worked with who have become their own entrepreneurs too. I've just worked with people who have grown their careers, and it's really neat when I see somebody who I've worked with. Now they have 3 gyms, or now they're writing. They're putting out books. I mean, just these things where people I've worked with have just done some really cool things. Some as colleagues and some as employees, and now they've done something amazing. So I love seeing personal growth. I think that's super important for people. Not just can they bench press more or deadlift more, but are they growing as a person?
Sure.
Doing more. So I think that's a big part of what I want to see, and that's what I'm most proud of.
And these are former team members, colleagues that used to work with you as trainers or some other role, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the team too. So, surrounding yourself with the right people in the teams it's very important. How do you find them, or your trainers, or especially in the athletic field? I don't know how big is the turnaround as far as trainers not lasting long in gyms and moving from one place to another. How do you go about recruiting and keeping them?
Gosh, it's a good question. I mean, we don't really do too much promotion. Like, I just put an ad out on Indeed to find some people, but mostly it's through word of mouth, letting people know, hey, we are hiring, and then people will come to us and say, I want to work with you. We don't do a lot of, we are doing now, reaching out to see like people want to work as a trainer or front desk or salespeople, but for the most part, it's just people we know who come in and say, hey, I know this person who would be good working for you.
Okay.
And then it's all about the vibe. I mean, someone's got to bring in a good positive energy and positive vibe. And if they don't, I can't coach a vibe. I can teach someone how to be a better salesperson, how to be a better front desk person, how to be a better coach, but I can't coach someone's attitude. I'm sure, at least I don't see that. Maybe someone else's ability can, but in my ability, you've got to bring in some good vibe before we do anything else.
It has to come from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what advice would you give someone who wants to go off and start their own gym?
Gosh, I would say plan.
A plan.
Take time, and know that when you're, and I still struggle with this because I still coach clients and coach classes. The struggle is once you become a business owner, that's your main responsibility. Right. And so if you're a trainer, your main responsibility is to make sure you're taking care of your clients. But once you start transitioning to a business ownership, that's your priority. And then you have to hire out trainers. Or conversely, you could be the trainer and the owner. Then you have to hire everything else out. You have to hire out a management or sales or this or that. So find out where you're weak, hire where you're weak, and stay in your strengths.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any daily habits or things that you do on a daily or frequent basis that you think have helped you throughout your years in being successful?
Yeah, the biggest habit that I've developed, and I to think about my first my manager when I went to work at Washington Sports Clubs. The only shift available was 6 a.m. to 2. And I was not a morning person at that point in my life, but that was the only option I had to work. He was like, well, we have 32 hours a week, 6 a.m. to 2. And, at $8 an hour, right? This is 2000, $8 an hour. So I said, yes, I'll take it. But that habit of getting up early has set the stage for my life. I get up at 5 o'clock almost every single day. And then I can just get more done in a day.
What's the first thing you do? Work out, or you work out at one of your gyms?
No, I'm not a morning workout person.
Oh, okay.
I'm more like a mid-morning and workout person.
Got it.
The first thing I usually do to start my day is I read the news. And then I get a cup of coffee. That's my 2 things I do. I just want to enjoy the morning for 5 minutes.
Sure.
Open the door, listen to some birds, check out the weather, and then I'll get my day going.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
So now we're heading into what we call the fast round. Basically, I just say a statement and you tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
All right. Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
What would you say is your biggest challenge right now at Urban Athletic Club?
Getting good people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the team.
Yeah, building the team.
Okay. What do you know now that you wish you would have known back then at the start of your business career?
Raise more money.
You always need more money.
Always need more money, yeah.
When I say the word success, what is the first thing or person that comes to mind?
Habits, and person would be Cal Ripken Jr.
Oh, really? Okay. Why Cal Ripken Jr.?
I mean, here's a guy that, worked hard every day, showed up to work every day, wasn't the best throughout his whole life, but he was a hard worker every single day and got better at his craft and always tried to make improvements.
That's good. I love that. Do you have a mentor? And if so, Graham, what did you learn from that person?
I did for a while. What I learned was patience.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
Patience.
a guy in the fitness industry who he was thoughtful and patient and really successful.
A lot of people do not have the patience and the fortitude. It's a long journey with any career, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business. People think, they see things on the internet or on TV. They think it's overnight to success, but they don't see the behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, for
All
sure.
that.
Everyone thinks they're going to build the next big thing, and you can just build the next year thing,
Yeah.
So.
No, that's true. What does the next 5 years look for you? What's the vision for Urban Athletic Club?
The vision is I would love to consolidate the small gym business in this area. I would love to work with other small gym owners who are doing their own thing and maybe wearing too many hats, and get everyone under an Urban Athletic Club umbrella so we can do things collectively better.
Okay. So that means you would reach out and say, is there any interest in a possible sale? Or maybe they just want out of it and just want to hand over the keys, some of them, right?
Yeah. Some sort of like, hey, let me take over this for you. We'll put in our best practices and you can go do what you want to do. Whether that means you want to train more or manage more or go sail on a sailboat, live the life you want and let our tools make it more successsul.
But they would come under your umbrella and follow the same model and everything that you offer, correct? Or will they keep some of what they have?
They can remain autonomous. I mean, if it was a spin studio who wanted to be Joe's Spinning, it would be Joe's Spinning, part of Urban Athletic Club. So
okay.
They can still have their name and their branding, but
sure.
Part of something larger that enables them to reduce some of that stuff and get some reports out to them. Here's your, let's take away some of that sales that you're doing now and put that under our thing, and we can sell one thing that's got 10 options, not you're selling and trying to fight over that $1.
So, I like that idea. Have you started some of that conversation with some of these individual gym owners?
I've started with more business partners at this point.
Okay, to get the capital.
Yeah, and I've talked to people who want to sell their gym and sort of what would that look like if they did, and I think and some people who I know someone just sold their gym and they sold it because they just lifestyle changes, and I didn't get there in fast enough. Someone else bought it, so there's people who like, hey, their life has changed and they would love to just, hey, here's this, maybe get the piece out of it, and we'll all win.
So it's not more of opening more locations, but maybe just acquiring other gyms and then the growth come from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I like that model. It's interesting. You actually, in one of the interviews prior to this, you mentioned about pricing plans, which I found very interesting and I never heard before, as far as, I believe you said, and you can correct me please, Graham, you said something, there's an annual fee, and depending on the frequency that you attend the gym, you're either paying per class or per month. How was that?
Yeah, so I developed a model that was essentially a base fee you would pay.
Okay.
$600 a year. And then based on how often you came, you would pay per class. And then after you get a sort of threshold, you would pay less. And so the incentive was, at 12 times per month, which is 3 times a week, right?
Yeah.
That's your highest price point. But that 13th visit, that want to get you that extra time, would dip your start playing less and less. And so the idea is that the members that come to the gym 13, 14, 15 times a month, those are your diehards. They love you. Have them pay less, right? Because they're going to spread the word. They're posting on Instagram. They're bringing other people in. So give them a deal. And if I can find the right software that can do it, I will implement that as soon as I can.
I love that. I mean, I work out 7 days a week every day. And when I heard that, I was like, this is beautiful. Like, and it just incentivizes, like you said, especially someone who wants to get more fit and more healthy. And I never heard that before. I'm like, I like that a lot. It piqued my interest.
Yeah.
So last question, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Gosh, for fun, my best thing I would love to do is I love to ride. I love to go bike riding. That's my number one thing I love to do. My daughter is now able to ride the bike with me. She can hang out for a little bit. So we did like a 4-mile bike ride, and her little legs were going. It was great. That's my.
And she did it alone with her own bike?
With her own bike, yeah.
How old is she?
7.
Wow,
7.
That's great.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have one daughter or 2? Okay.
Yeah, 7 and 4.
Girls?
2 girls, yeah.
Oh, nice. 3 boys.
Oh, look at that, man. There you go.
Yeah. Graham, thank you so much for coming to the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course, that was great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, if you can share with the audience as far as where can they follow you, where can they find you, whether websites or any social media handles you want to provide, please.
Yeah, so you can find Urban Athletic Club at urbanathletic.club. That's our website. You can find us on Instagram at Urban Athletic Club. You can find me at Graham King Training on Urban Athletic Club, and everything will be there.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Graham.
Of course, appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Okay.